Okay, so as requested, I'm just going to do a quick overview of factorizing. Look, I won't go too much into detail with this. This is a revision topic from junior cert, but yeah, we do need to know for leaving cert as well. So we'll go over it very quickly in a quick video series. So first of all, what is factorizing? Well, factorizing basically is looking at an expression or a number and seeing what do we actually multiply together to get that number. For example, if we're looking at factors of 6, that can be 1, 2, 3, or 6, because 6 can be made by 1 by 6, or it can be made by 2 by 3. So those are the 4 factors of 6. That's what factorizing is. Basically, what do you multiply by what to get what we're looking for. Or else you can just say, what divides evenly into 6? So 6 divides evenly into 6 to give us 1, 3 divides evenly into 6 to give us 2, 2 divides evenly into 6 to give us 3, and 1 divides unevenly into 6 to give us 6. So that's what factorizing is. And when we're looking at factorizing in algebra, we have 4 types really of factorizing that we're going to look at. We're going like highest common factor factorizing. That's what HCS stands for. We're looking at difference of two squares, grouping, and trinomials. So the first one we're looking at is highest common factor. I'm going to look at a few examples. So highest common factor is very simple. In our 2 terms in our algebra expression here, we have a common factor. So both of these numbers can be divided by x. So we take our common factor outside the bracket, then we divide x by 4x squared to get 4x, divide minus 5x by x to get minus 5. So that goes inside our bracket. So if I was to multiply this out now, I would get 4x squared minus 5x. So basically that's what factorizing tells us, what multiplies together to get our answer. X multiplied by 4x minus 5 gives us our answer. Next one here, we have 30x squared plus 15x minus 5. So we don't have an x in common in all 3 terms, but there is a number that all of these divide by, and that number is 5. So 5 is my common factor, so I'm taking it out. What do I have to multiply by 5 to get 30x squared? 6x squared. What do I have to multiply by 5 to get 15x? 3x. And what do I have to multiply by 5 to get minus 5? Well, that's minus 1. So take out my common factor outside the bracket, and what do I have to multiply 5 by to get this is what goes inside the bracket. Now last one, slightly trickier but not really. Both of these have an x in common, but if we look at the numbers on front of the x, 30x and 6, well, they're both divisible by 6. So my highest common factor here is actually 6x. Both of those divide into 6x. What do we have to multiply by 6x to get 30x squared? 5x. What do we multiply by 6x to get minus 6x? Minus 1. 6x times 5x minus 1. That's highest common factor. We should all know that, so it's quick revision. I went over very quickly. Highest common factor, we look for the factor they have in common, take it out of the bracket, and leave what's inside. So now we're moving on to difference of 2 squares. And this occurs when our expression can be written as 2 square numbers, one minus the other. So we see our first example here. Obviously x squared is x multiplied by itself, and 4 can be written as 2 multiplied by itself. So we can rewrite this as x to be squared minus 2 to be squared. And when we can rewrite an expression as one square number minus another, the rule, simply enough, first plus the second times first minus the second. X plus 2 times x minus 2. First plus the second times first minus the second. That's a rule you can learn off. If you want to see why it works, if we were to multiply this out, we'd split our brackets to multiply this out. That would give me x squared minus 2x plus 2x minus 4. And then these would cancel out, and we're left with x squared minus 4. So that's why it works, because the plus and the minus, when we multiply it out, will cancel it out, so we'll have no x term. We only have an x squared term and a minus 4 term. So that's why it works, and we're going to look at applying it again to the next question. So both of these can be written as numbers to be squared. So 9 is 3 squared, so 9x squared is actually 3x all to be squared. 3x multiplied by itself will give us 9x squared, and y multiplied by itself gives us y squared. So then we write it as 3x minus y times 3x plus y. Then 81x squared again. 81 is 9 squared. So that's 9x multiplies by itself to give us 81x squared. And 9 is 3 multiplied by itself. So 9x squared minus 3 squared. So that goes to 9x minus 3 times 9x plus 3. So that's really just a rule we can remember. However, if we look here, there's actually another common factor. 9x minus 3 and 9x plus 3 have 3 as a common factor. So it's actually 3, x minus 1, x plus 1. Don't worry about that. Okay. So there are my first two types of factorizing. I don't anticipate any problems on this since it is revision, but yeah, we're going to move on to the two slightly more difficult types now. And the first of those is grouping. So grouping it's very easy to notice because we have 4 different variables in our expression. So we see here we have a p, a q, an r, and an s. P, or, q, and s. Yeah. So p, q, r, and s are different unknowns. So that's why it's very easy to spot. When we have them, we basically are going to do highest common factor twice. So we need to group together the variables with each other. So I'm going to group the p's together and I'm going to group the s's together. So I'm just going to rearrange my formula to be 18pq minus 4pr minus 10rs plus 45qs. And I can do that because it doesn't actually matter when I'm doing addition and subtraction what way I write it. Same way, like let's say I was doing 5 minus 9, well, that's the same as 9 minus 9 plus 5. So don't worry about that. Just know that we can rearrange it to look like this. Then what I do is I split my expression down the middle. I'm going to do highest common factor with the first part and highest common factor with the second part. So looking at the first part, they both have p in common, and 18 and 4 can both be divided by 2 as well. So 2p is my highest common factor here. So what multiplies by 2p to get 18pq? Well, that's 9q. What multiplies by 2p to get minus 4pr? That's minus 2r. Okay, so my highest common factor in the first was 2p, and what's left inside the bracket was 9q minus 2r. When we do grouping, we're going to do highest common factor in the second part, but we already actually know what's going to go into the bracket, and that's going to be 9q minus 2r, because we want it to be in common for grouping to work. So we have this inside the bracket, and we basically need to see what do we have to multiply by 9q minus 2r to give us minus 10rs plus 45qs. Well, what do I have to multiply 45qs by to get, what do I have to multiply 9q by to get 45qs? 9 by 5 gives me 45, and obviously we have an s as well. And if we multiply 5s by minus 2r, it gives me minus 10rs. So we have to multiply 5s by 9q minus 2r to get this half of our grouping thing. So now we have 2p times 9q minus 2r plus 5s times 9q minus 2r. So we have one of my brackets already is 9q minus 2r, and inside my other bracket goes 2p plus 5s. So there's plenty of examples online. I don't think I'm the first YouTube video to explain this as well. So if you need more examples, you can find them and you can practice them yourself. I'll be making a second video now looking at trinomials, because there's really 3 different techniques that I'll need to go through in that. So hopefully this was useful to you, and best of luck next week.